Good morning, Shenzhen, and welcome to Bluetooth Asia 2026. My name is Neville Mayers, and I'm the CEO of the Bluetooth SIG. It's wonderful to be in China again to celebrate another Bluetooth Asia with such a wonderful community. Today, we're going to talk about how global standards get shaped. On May the 20th, 1998, five titans of industry, Ericsson, Nokia, IBM, Intel, and Toshiba, publicly announced a shared vision for low-cost, short-range wireless connectivity. And they formed the Bluetooth Special Interest Group to develop a global specification. Their vision: if you want a global wireless standard, you don't build it by yourself. The Bluetooth story has always been about building a shared standard that unlocks global scale. It's a standard shaped by people and companies working together. It's a standard that shapes products. It's a standard that shapes markets. And it's a standard that shapes industries, and ultimately, it shapes the world through connection. Bluetooth's vision is about creating a better world through connection. But connection at a global scale doesn't happen by chance. It happens when a global community comes together with a shared vision to make the impossible possible through innovation. For the past 28 years, the Bluetooth community, you, around the globe, have been shaping Bluetooth technology. Bluetooth is now the most widely deployed wireless technology in the world. And when innovation scales, it becomes more than just a technology. It shows up in how we live, how we work, how we move, and how we connect every single day. That vision to connect has been extremely successful. Every year, billions of Bluetooth devices are shipped around the world, a clear reflection of the incredible innovation and collaboration across this ecosystem. The widespread adoption of Bluetooth technology has resulted in more than 65 billion enabled devices shipped over the past 20 years. That's nearly 8 Bluetooth devices per person on this planet. And forecasts predict that close to 6 billion devices will ship this year, and in a few years, we will reach 10 billion devices annually. That scale doesn't come from one company. It doesn't come from one region. It's proof that connection at global scale happens because of the community that shows up to build a global standard that the world can rely on. So, how does Bluetooth keep on delivering over and over again? Well, we can explain it through 4 drivers that work together. Bluetooth is built together. You, the Bluetooth community, shape our standard. Bluetooth is delivered worldwide. It's a roadmap that quickly turns into real-world deployments. Bluetooth is trusted everywhere. It's a name that people recognize and instantly trust. And Bluetooth is focused locally. Your inputs here in China and in the Asia-Pacific region strengthen the standard. And together, these drivers help explain why Bluetooth became the world's most trusted global standard and deployed technology, and why it will continue to be that way. Let's start with build together, because nothing else happens without it. Bluetooth standards shape our global community through our community. A community of over 43,000 companies that have joined the Bluetooth SIG since our inception. A community with thousands of active members. a community that creates standards and solutions that enable interoperability, scale, and long-term trust. Built together really means a standard shaped by the global ecosystem. When they're shaped by you and your organizations, when you could contribute and collaborate with us. Standards don't shape themselves. They're shaped by people and organizations who show up, contribute, and collaborate together. And our strength doesn't just lie in our size. It lies in our diversity. Bluetooth membership is spread across 3 major regions, and the largest percentage of members call the Asia-Pacific region home. Different regions bring different priorities, different needs, and different insights, and that diversity makes us stronger for everyone. Local participation shapes the standard. Show up, contribute, collaborate, and the outcomes are interoperability, scale, and trust. Once standards are built together, their value is realized when the products they enable are distributed globally. Our mission is simple, but very powerful. We work together to advance, protect, and promote Bluetooth technology, the global standard for connection. That mission is how we keep the ecosystem strong. We advance the technology, we protect interoperability, and we promote global adoption. And participation ensures that best ideas win and regional needs are reflected globally. Bluetooth is not a set it and forget it standard. It's a community that never rests, and recently it has been really busy. Today we have 2,000 group and committee members working in 23 active working groups, working on different standards, and they've delivered over 100 new specifications in the last 3 years. That continuous work is how we keep Bluetooth evolving and how we've kept it interoperability on a global basis. So, Bluetooth is built together by a community that shows up and does work. And next we'll discuss how this work becomes real, how the Bluetooth roadmap turns into real product deployments around the world. Please welcome me in inviting Chuck Sabin, VP of Technology and Market Development, to the stage to talk about delivering Bluetooth worldwide. Chuck.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Again, my name is Chuck Sabin, and as Neville mentioned, I'm the Vice President for Technology and Market Development at the Bluetooth SIG. And what that means is that my team is responsible for the introduction of new standardized technical features and the acceleration and growth of new markets for the benefit of all members. The standards are not created in isolation, and they don't exist for their own sake. They exist to create impact on the real world. Everything we do follows a simple but powerful cycle. Members come together to define a standard. That standard becomes a set of consistent, predictable features, and those features show up in interoperable devices. And in those interoperable devices that scale across companies, across regions, and across the world. And that scale is what changes markets. And it's what allows entire industries to move forward together instead of fragmenting into isolated solutions. And when standards work, innovation accelerates. So today, I want to talk to you about how that cycle is playing out right now and how recent enhancements are delivering real, measurable impact worldwide. Over the past few years, the SIG has delivered a set of enhancements that significantly expand the scope of Bluetooth technology and what you can do with it today. These are not incremental updates. They are foundational capabilities designed to scale globally and support entirely new categories of experiences. So I'm going to focus in 4 areas. First, Auracast broadcast audio. Then we'll talk about device networking capabilities. We'll talk about secure fine ranging. And then the recent introduction of ultra-low latency HID capabilities. I'll focus primarily on real-world impact, and there are breakout sessions on each of these throughout the next 2 days for more technical detail if that's what you're interested in. Auracast redefines what it means to share audio, and it's actually something that I've been personally passionate about over the last few years. With Auracast broadcast audio, Bluetooth devices can transmit an audio signal to an unlimited number of in-range devices in both private and public spaces. Instead of pairing one device to another, Auracast allows audio to be broadcast to an unlimited number of listeners. And Auracast unlocks 3 powerful experiences initially. First is sharing audio, from sharing music with friends to streaming a movie to everyone in the room. Auracast makes shared audio simple and scalable, well beyond the 1 or 2 person limits that you see today in many devices. Second is unmuting the world. Silent TV screens are all around us. They're in airports, they're in gyms, they're in bars, they're in theaters, and they're in waiting rooms. Now you can finally deliver an audio experience to those silent screens directly to personal devices with no special receivers and no special services required. The third area is hearing your best. And Auracast enables a high-quality, direct-to-ear audio in large open spaces like these. Originally designed for helping people with hearing loss, many of you are actually using it today, established by our member company Amptronic, for augmented audio either in English, and while others are using it for simultaneous translation in Mandarin, improving overall clarity and access in everyday environments. Now imagine this need and solution for every conference center, every conference room, every lecture hall around the world. The opportunity is endless for what you can do with Auracast. And most importantly, this is no longer theoretical. Auracast is delivering real-world impact and opportunity for you today, just like the way you're using it at this moment. Auracast is being deployed by member companies in thousands of locations worldwide, from theaters to conference centers to sports stadiums to places of worship and universities. It is integrated into commercial transmitters, like the one over there, and it's also in mainstream operating system platforms like Android and Windows. And it's native in some TVs from Hisense, TCL, LG, Samsung. So I encourage you to experience Auracast today. It truly is a game changer for audio, for Bluetooth technology, and for you. Now, as Bluetooth moves deeper into commercial and industrial environments, scale and reliability matter more than ever. Device networking solutions from Bluetooth, including the mesh networking capabilities, enable large-scale deployments for lighting, HVAC, and even electronic shelf labels in your favorite grocery store. These are systems that may involve thousands of nodes operating continuously. And the value of Bluetooth in this is the interoperability that it brings. A standardized approach means multi-vendor systems can work together, reducing risk and lowering deployment costs. It also means long-term flexibility. Buildings and retailers are no longer locked into proprietary ecosystems. They can evolve over time while preserving compatibility. This is Bluetooth impacting at a large scale for implementations, proving that it can operate not just to scale for consumers, but it can scale for enterprise businesses as well. Now, secure fine ranging, also known by the feature name channel sounding, introduces something that Bluetooth has never had before: true distance measurement between two devices. Now, this isn't about estimating proximity. It's about knowing how far away another device actually is and doing so securely and accurately. And that precision enables secure digital keys, accurate Find My solutions, and safer industrial environments. For digital keys, specifically, regional digital key standards from ICCE and ICCOA have already integrated Bluetooth channel sounding into their specifications for automotive digital keys right here in China. And when billions of everyday devices gain the ability to understand distance, entirely new classes of experiences become possible through your innovation. Now, Bluetooth and wireless input has always been about freedom. Freedom from wires, but performance still matters. Bluetooth has been a leader in wireless HID devices for years, including mice, keyboards, and other input devices. But now, with the release of ultra-low latency HID, this brings wired class responsiveness to wireless keyboards, mice, controllers, and even AR/VR devices. For gaming, professional productivity, and immersive experiences, responsiveness directly affects outcomes. And this enhancement ensures wireless input keeps up with the most demanding of use cases. It removes that final trade-off between performance and mobility, providing performance and input that moves with you, not after you. But progress never pauses. What you've seen so far reflects what has been delivered and is making real-world impact today. And I see a lot of phones going up right now. But progress doesn't stop there. Looking ahead, the SIG is expanding performance and opportunity through a number of key innovations for Bluetooth technology, including higher data throughput. Available later this year, HDT is increasing throughput options for the LE radio to nearly 8 megabits per second for your solutions. And available in early 2027, taking advantage of HDT, the Bluetooth SIG is currently standardizing high-resolution and lossless audio for Bluetooth devices, delivering the default standard for high-quality wireless audio for the future. Also targeted for later in 2027, the Bluetooth SIG is ensuring that it remains relevant, competitive, and trusted for the next 25 years by standardizing use in higher bands, including 5 and 6 gigahertz. And lastly, announced last year, the Bluetooth SIG has begun to explore our role in the ambient IoT world and how best Bluetooth technology can support this new class of energy harvesting devices that are always on and always aware. And through our members, we are actively driving the conversations around this topic in the ecosystem. And now more detail on these features will be available in presentations over the next 2 days and will continue to be released, more information will continue to be released from the Bluetooth SIG. Now, again, none of this progress happens by accident. Every feature, every deployment, every success comes from a collaboration across the ecosystem and by members like you. And that's why my call to action to you is simple. It is join the Bluetooth SIG. Get involved. Participate in the specification development. Help us shape what comes next. And if you can't participate in specification development, then help drive adoption and acceleration of current capabilities through your innovation and your implementation. And together, we don't just build standards, we build the future. Now, I've shown you how this community turns standards into features and features into products that ship all over the world. But shipping at scale is only part of the story. For products to succeed across markets, industries, and regions, something else has to be present, and that is trust. And that trust, how it's earned, how it's signaled, how it's recognized, is what we will turn to next. So I wish you to please welcome Dave Hollander, Vice President of Marketing at the Bluetooth SIG, to the stage.
Thank you, Chuck. And hello, Shenzhen. As Chuck mentioned, my name is Dave Hollander, and I get to lead the corporate and brand marketing team at the SIG. Now, most people never see a technical specification. They don't see the testing, the qualification process, and all of the work that our members do behind the scenes to ensure that products work together effortlessly across manufacturers and markets. In other words, people don't see standards necessarily. What they see, what they experience, really what they feel, is the trust that standards inspire. And thanks to the commitment of our Bluetooth developer community and their decades of collaboration to deliver innovation after innovation across the globe, Bluetooth is a technology and a brand that is trusted everywhere. The Bluetooth mark has become a universal symbol of trust. It's the visible signal of an invisible standard. A signal that tells the world something very simple but very powerful about the devices that display this mark. Bluetooth products from anywhere should work together everywhere. And the Bluetooth experience is one that you and your customers can count on. This mark, this brand, belongs to the Bluetooth member community. It reflects the collective work of members around the world coming together to create connections that have the power to make businesses smarter, to drive entire industries forward, and to enrich our lives. And this trust isn't just a belief that we have. We see it in the data. In our most recent brand survey, we asked members across the globe a simple question. How valuable is the Bluetooth brand in helping your company market and ultimately sell Bluetooth products? An incredible 88% of respondents said that the Bluetooth brand is either valuable, very valuable, or extremely valuable. So put another way, if I was to line up 10 member companies here along the stage with me, nearly 9 of them would tell you that the Bluetooth brand genuinely helps their products sell and succeed in the market. This tells us that this confidence, that this belief in the Bluetooth brand is shared broadly and consistently across our global community. It's not just a logo. Our members know that it's more than that. It brings them real value. It's a signal of confidence at the moment that matters most, when a buyer is deciding which product to trust. When customers see the Bluetooth mark on the box, it tells them that this is a product that's built on a standard that they recognize and an experience that they can trust. At its core, the Bluetooth brand stands for a promise. It tells buyers in the market that Bluetooth products are backed by a global ecosystem, that there is a shared standard beneath the surface powering it all, one that we can rely on, and that they deliver a familiar and dependable experience across manufacturers and devices. The Bluetooth logo is a symbol of how participation and collaboration can turn into confidence worldwide. Because markets recognize and people experience what happens when the devices that they depend on every day at work, at home, or at play, the devices that are helping make their world a better place, are built on an interoperable global standard. That's a powerful promise, and it's one that's worth protecting. The Bluetooth promise is kept through qualification. For members developing Bluetooth products and looking to bring those products to market, qualification is your gateway to use the Bluetooth brand. Product qualification is how that trust is made real. And it's the mechanism that ensures that your Bluetooth products deliver not only on that promise, but on our vision of creating a better world through connection. The good news is, you don't have to navigate any of this alone. If your team is building with Bluetooth today, and you want to learn more about Bluetooth qualification or using the brand correctly, our team is here at the Bluetooth SIG booth and would love to meet with you. We're here throughout the show, happy to talk, answer questions, and help you find the information that you're looking for. Now, that trust and confidence spans across the globe. But standards are strongest when regional voices help shape them. Global confidence can only come when meaningful participation by representatives across different applications, different markets, and of course, different regions happens. And nowhere is that more evident than here in the Asia-Pacific region. To talk about how regional leadership, including right here in China, is helping shape global outcomes, please join me in welcoming Lori Lee back to the stage.
Thanks, Dave. 谢谢 Dave。刚刚 Dave 带我们看了全球品牌信任的愿景。那现在我想要把焦点拉回到我们所在的亚太区，特别是中国。那为了让现场超过90%的中文观众如享受蓝牙班，有超低延迟的体验，那我决定接下来我直接切换成中文。那在地的重要性就是我想要分享的核心。唯有扎根在地的需求，我们才可以真正形塑全球的影响力。那从 SIG 成立到现在为止，在蓝牙地区，我们已经有超过15000家企业加入。那而且中国的成长动能更是惊人，目前已经是 SIG 在全球成员数第2多的国家。那让我最自豪的是，每一年全球有超过56%的产品认证是来自于亚太区。那其中每3件的认证就有1件是来自于中国。那就像我之前提到的，全球有近半数的手机销量以及全球的蓝牙芯片的研发都来自于中国。那在这一些数字的背后的意义非常的明确，就是中国不再只是制造中心，而更是带动蓝牙创新非常重要的一个市场之一。那为了支持这一股非常强大的一个创新的能量，我们在2025年2月正式成立了中国分公司，那并且我们在北京、上海、深圳都设有办事处。那这对 Bluetooth SIG 来说是一个非常重要的一个转折点，代表我们真正扎根在这里。那今年刚好是我们落地中国满1周年的时间。那在这1年里，我们与大家的联系更加的紧密，因为我们的在地的团队能用相同的语言， 那在相同的时区为大家提供最及时的技术支持、市场发展以及成员以及认证服务。那除了把全球的技术带进来，我们更主动地听取大家的市场需求及反馈，让中国的声音成为蓝牙标准发展的重要参考。那我希望每一位中国的成员都能感受到我们扎根中国，连接世界。那成立中国分公司之后，我们也在去年10月成立了中国兴趣小组 CIG。那最主要的目的是加速蓝牙技术在中国的落地，那同时也更快速地收集中国对于蓝牙技术在地的需求。那最重要的是，我们可以取得中国成员的共识，将在地的一个洞察以及见解贡献到蓝牙技术的一个发展路线图当中。那目前 CIG 成立到目前为止，我们成就了几个重大的一个里程碑。那第一个，根据我们中国在地的一个需求，我们成立了汽车音频推广组。那更聚焦在地潜力的市场，包含我们大力在推广 Channel Sounding 以及 Auracast 的这些蓝牙新的技术的落地。那再来的话，我们建立了固定会议讨论的机制，包含每1个月的电话会议，以及每个季度面对面的交流会议讨论。那再来的话，我们将中国的一个创新直接通过 CIG 这一次在蓝牙亚洲大会进行汽车以及生态的一个生态演戏展示。那目前为止，中国兴趣小组的成长动能是非常惊人的。那成立至今已经有超过200名的专家成员，分别代表66家联盟成员级别，就是我们所谓的 associate member 的公司加入到 CIG。那这不仅仅是数字的增长，更代表中国产业的核心力量正紧密地团结在一起。那作为 CIG 的一个创始主席，那最自豪的是我们的成员之间形成了一种协作的文化，推动蓝牙技术的发展。那更值得期待的是，就在这1个月，我们建立了全新的领导团队。那由我们的董事会正式的批准任命，正式交棒给我们全新的一个领导团队。那这些团队是来自于我们在地的成员公司，那包含有我们的百瑞互联、泰林微电子、小米科技、领跑微电子的代表，将带领 CIG 未来的发展。那这也代表我们在地生根又迈进了一个新的里程碑。那在简报的的照片当中，大家可以看到，我们上1个月才在北京小米科技的总部召开了 CIG 第2次的线下会议。那大家的出席以及讨论相当的踊跃，我们乐见未来有更多的公司通过积极的参与，一同发挥协作的力量，将中国的创新带上国际的舞台。那除了 CIG 这个交流的平台，我们对于亚太区的承诺是长期而且坚定的。那我们透过举办像今天这样的一个大会，希望为大家建立一个舞台，让技术及市场的信息能够真正流动起来，成就一个更互联互通的蓝牙生态。那再来的话，我们定期的去举办 UPF 测试的活动，让不同的公司的工程师能够面对面的进行产品互通性的测试。那这种高强度的一个技术协作，是确保蓝牙稳定与成熟的一个关键。那我们投入这么多的资源，目标只有一个，就是缩短各个公司产品从研发到上市的距离，帮大家打造出最专业、最高效的一个蓝牙生态。那除了深耕中国市场以外，那今天我非常荣幸的宣布，我们准备将中国市场的成功经验正式拓展到日本。那在 SIG 全球成员数以及认证排名，日本一直是稳居全球第3，仅次于中国市场。 那大家也都知道，日本在音频、穿戴装置以及工业领域等等，都拥有非常创新的动能。那我们预计在今年正式成立中国实体公司，那预计投入更多的资源，并且建立专属的一个社区的支持体系。那我们期待可以加强在地的协作，我们要打破语言的隔阂，让日本的成员企业能像在中国市场一样，第一个时间获得最及时的支持。那第二个，我们推广在地全新的一个应用。那我们希望可以转化成全球蓝牙技术下一个增长点。那第三，我们倾听在地的声音，确保日本企业的一个创新需求，也能够直接贡献到我们未来蓝牙技术的发展方向。那我们相信，深耕每一个关键区域，才是真正强化蓝牙国际标准的一个全面性。那最后，我想要邀请在座的每一位嘉宾来思考一下，我们要如何进一步参与蓝牙标准的制定，发挥你们的影响力。因为蓝牙的价值链是从贡献开始，经过参与讨论，最后形成集体共识，然后我们将规格去进行测试规范。那一个全球性的标准需要各个区域的声音，尤其是亚太区，尤其是中国市场，在现在这一个时候，比任何时候都要至关重要。那当我们把标准做得更完善，那全球的蓝牙技术就会变得更强大。那我们要做的就是把各位在第一线看到的一个在地需求，直接转化成去影响国际标准的一个方向。那通过参与到工作组、中国兴趣小组，那大家可以一同在上游亲自的定义蓝牙的未来。那再通过积极参与 UPF 的测试活动，验证产品的互通性，可以打造值得信任的一个蓝牙品牌以及解决方案。那这个就是我们在地领导力的真正意义。所以让我们一起参与，一起定义。那从在地出发，共同形塑世界的标准。好，那接下来我想要把舞台交回给我们的 CEO Neville Mayers， 他将为我们带来总结这些区域的力量如何汇集在一起，成就蓝牙全球通信领域的未来。And now to see how this regional strengths fuel our global strategy for the next decade. Neville, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Larry. Let me close by bringing this back to one simple invitation. Please come join us. We've talked about the drivers built together, delivered worldwide, trusted everywhere, and focused locally. Now the question is, what are you going to do with all of this? We have shown how standards shape the world and how the world is shaped by those who help build those standards. Participation is how the standard stays strong. This is bigger than any one individual, any one company, or any one region. This is a shared stewardship of the Bluetooth standard, and the future of Bluetooth depends on your continued contribution. Help turn your bold ideas into global standards. Standards that shape the world, and the world is shaped by those who help build them. So how do you join us? Well, many companies just engage with the Bluetooth SIG primarily to build and qualify products. If that's you, that's great. You will get access to the brand, and a lot of members join us as adopters. But if you really want to contribute to the standard, then join as a contributing adopter. This is a new membership tier that we have just created. If you want to lead and go further and wish to participate directly in working groups and in committees and collaborate with peers and really drive the specification, then become an associate member. There's no single right way to join the Bluetooth SIG. The right way is just to participate. We all have this common mission, keeping Bluetooth strong, interoperable, and globally trusted. So I'll leave you with this. Standards shape the world, but the world is shaped by those who help build those standards. Help shape what comes next, especially across China and the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you for being part of this wonderful community. And thank you for doing everything to advance, protect, and promote Bluetooth. We really appreciate that. If you want to shape Bluetooth technology, come join us. If you want to safeguard interoperability, come join us. If you want to ensure wireless innovations remain globally relevant, then come join us. Lastly, if you want to shape the world, come join us. Be part of this extraordinary Bluetooth community. Standards shape the world, and the world is shaped by those who build them. Thank you. 谢谢.